Hello and welcome back to the Mana Clash, and we are Bazaar Coverage. I am Bazaar, you are Bazaar, I'm Sam Loy, and that is Russell Cutting.
I've been foolishly allowed back into the booth, and thus I am here.
At some point, you just have staffing issues, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh well, how unfortunate! You're stuck with me for another round.
Oh no. Okay, so we've got a good matchup coming to you guys now. So why don't we go across to the table? I think they're ready to start for us.
Well, 3-0 players and some interesting decks.
Yeah.
To delight and titillate our audience.
Exactly. So we have left of screen, we got Ben Hewitt, one of our points committee members, fantastically helping us out with this. And then we got Brandon Evans on the right with his 4-color soup deck, which I think, Russell, you're going to like quite a lot.
Yeah, but I like Ben Hewitt, a.k.a. Mouse, a little bit more because he's put his money where his mouth is and once again championing Library of Alexandria as a playable Magic card.
Amazing stuff. Now, we've got a card here. I believe it's Inquisition of Kozilek.
Inquisition of Kozilek, which defeats Library of Alexandria.
It's a poor matchup for the Library.
We have, looking like a Force of Will, a Brainstorm, Flame of Anor, Ponder, and a Fury. And a Snake of a Plains. Taking the Ponder is this Inquisition of Kozilek. So, Jeskai Control on Mr. Mouse's side. Brandon Evans with 4-color soup. So I see you were being sarcastic when you said I would be enjoying this deck.
Actually, I think you will. So it's got some really cool takes to it. It's got some reanimation package in it as well.
Okay, I'm back.
So
I'm back.
You know, we did just have Jeskai versus Reanimator, but this is a bit of a different look at it. Not only is Jeskai on the left now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's part of it. The other thing is this this reanimation package is only part of the deck rather than the entire point. So a mix of threats, really hard to deal with for Control, but it didn't stop Control last match.
Definitely a different Jeskai Control list as well, in the fact that it is much less reliant on lock pieces like Blood Moon, Back to Basics, and its ilk, at least in the main board. I'm not exactly sure of the side, but, you know, they would typically be quite effective against these 4-color soup decks. But we'll see how we go. At the moment, Jeskai is colorless.
A colorless deck, yeah, and we have a Deathrite Shaman. So, I mean, a card that's... you know, near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. Just not mine.
Not mine either.
Yeah, I really like that card in some ways, but...
one of the most poorly templated cards.
It's not templated great, yeah. I've had a lot of frustrating interactions with that one over the years, but that's okay. So Brandon's doing what he wants to do, which is disrupt a little bit, get some mana source under it, as well as, you know, start seeing parts of his deck to start pull away. How would you play the Library in this point?
I mean, if you're under a lot of pressure right now, and if you are actually able to leverage it, which against a 4-color soup deck, historically not huge on a lot of pressure early, unless they reanimate something, I would be trying to get 3 cards at least. After that, I think you've done pretty well with it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, even if it's a 2-for-1, you know, a 3-for-1 is pretty fantastic there. I mean, it's also a land, right? So when we're going through this game, we keep an eye on Ben's hand size.
Looking like...
it's got 7 at the moment.
7 at the moment.
Yeah.
With a Thought Splasher to potentially deal with that Deathrite.
Pesky Shaman.
Although I think they might have fired that off by now if they
were planning on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. This exile removal out of these, you know, blue-white X control decks is powerful, but you just don't have that many repetitions of them in the deck. So you have to value them in a way that you wouldn't in a 4-card constructed format.
There he is. Yeah, he is going to fire it
Okay,
off.
so we are going to do it.
No days. So goodbye, Deathrite. I mean, as you say, they are few and far between. Swords of Plowshare is far and away the best one.
Absolutely.
So, you know, really telling to see that they're using their best catch-all removal spell on a 1-drop.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Well, you know what they say, smoke them if you got them.
Bolt the bird.
Swords them if you can share some plows.
Send them to the fields.
To the fields with you.
He's been turned into an indentured serf. We won't see him anymore.
No chance. He's exiled from the land.
Thoughtseize, mental misstep. So that puts Mouse down to 5 cards, 6 at the start of the turn. So the library will be turned off if they, well, want to develop any more, which we may see. And a Troll of Khazad-dûm cycled.
Here, yeah. So, I mean, this is interesting from Brandon. He's aggressively using his hand interaction, not so much worried about playing around counterspells in the long game, more interested in turning this library off quickly.
Yes.
And is that also the sort of positioning you'd like against library?
100%. You know, as I said, the Jeskai side is really wanting to draw 2 to 3 cards, and if you could only get them the 1, then you've still made them pay a point for basically a cantrip. Well, more than a cantrip, but draw 2 in a sense. So if you can do that, you're and then able to put some pressure behind it, keep that hand slow and small for your opponent, and the control will hopefully run out of resources as you 2-for-1 them into the ground.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. So if you're in Ben's seat, you do have the option of not actually going for your 3rd land drop. We know that he's got it in hand, but you can keep it if you think that you can, work towards a board state where you're not under too much pressure and the library can turn back on.
Yeah.
Nice little mini game that we have here with Ben avoiding that land drop. So a
Brandon is going to break that up with a Duress.
Oh, Duress. The triple twins of evil here. So we've got the Inquisition, the Duress, and the Thoughtseize.
Yeah, you said I'd like this deck, but I really don't, as I am not.
I swear to you, Russell, there are more than 4 cards in it.
Well, none of them I've seen so far I particularly like. So this Duress is probably going to hit the Force of Will there. So
yeah, interesting to see there. So back down on cards. And now what do we do about it? So no threat from Brandon.
Yeah, he is going to hold. He really values getting some work out of that library. You really get some card advantage. And
we see a probe.
Yep, so you get to see the Supreme Verdict just drawn. That Dryad Arbor might get cheeky.
It might be. A cheeky little arbor.
Cheeky little arbor. Oop.
Second draw of the turn. So but it looked like we had that little hiccup there, like Evans may have just missed it, but didn't.
That might tip off Mouse. Who knows? They might be as astute with a miracle check.
Yeah, we're pretty astute here seeing the card, but
yes,
we'll see how we go.
Ketramoose, the most.
The moose. The moosest and the loosest.
Which is actually a lion-headed golden god of Amonkhet.
No, it's a moose.
Okay. And at the moment, it is certainly turned off, so just a hopeful card draw advantage engine for the soup. Speaking of card draw advantage engines, the library.
Hey, yeah, this one doesn't even cost any mana.
Up to 8, down to 7.
We finally see the island hit the battlefield, which is interesting.
6 with a Tomeo.
Yeah, the Tomeo is like an interesting play here because that can, find the cards to turn on the library, but it can also just die. So,
and library turns on the Tomeo. It's a symbiotic relationship. I'm sure Tomeo would like to visit the Library of Alexandria.
Oh, I'm sure she would.
Loot its scrolls.
If she were alive.
Look, too soon. Too soon. Nashi would be devastated.
Ah, well, he's a rat, so...
He's a rat. Preordained, seeing a couple, at least one land. I
think it is 2 lands. It's a Fetch and a Thundering Falls by the look of that.
All right,
so we're keeping the Thundering Falls?
Keeping the Fetch.
No, the Mesa, the Arid Mesa.
Get the Thundering Falls.
Synergy.
Back to Brandon with a 1/1 and a card draw engine.
Card draw engine, yeah. So Ketramoose can be interacted with. It just is not itself a creature right now.
That is a Athenarak, the thrice called.
Altenrak?
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Look, it's a weird name.
Say his name.
Say his name.
And he shall appear, although it is hard to exile 3 copies of Say its name to get Altenak for free in a singleton format.
I'm sure there's a way that someone putting too much effort into the game will find, but it won't be I.
Yeah, nor I. All right, so...
Force negation, drawn by Mouth. We've got Lucky 7. We might go down to a 6 and then draw back up to 7.
I think we're already to 7 with the land drop there.
Yes.
So
all right.
This means that, Ben's going to be able to find a few different ways to interact with this board. His mana's back on now. So it looks like those early turns, holding the land drops, getting his hand size up, really did pay off. We've gotten to the magical 3 number you mentioned earlier, Russell.
Yep.
So
just great.
Pretty significantly ahead. That's an ancestral recall worth of value.
Yes, and, he really sorted now could even get the basic mountain if they... are, afraid of anything of the sort, but I don't think there's really any benefit for that basic land, unless they're... But we'll find out.
Yeah, no, we don't have any of the land hate in the main here. Right. So what we're going to be probably doing is just finding the value. Maybe this earlier called shot by you with the Thundering Falls.
No, unfortunately.
Oh, no, it's a plateau.
Finally incorrect about something.
It's the first time, though.
Yes, I've never been wrong about anything less in my life.
That's what you've been telling me for years.
If you say it enough, it becomes true.
That's fair. So looks like we've got the fetch for the Windswept Heath on the stack.
Oh, yes.
And it's getting Tidebinded.
Hell yeah.
Jashana,
Tidebinder.
I love you, but your Tidebinders, I can do without them sometimes.
Well, this is a great little stifle. Yeah.
So Windswept Heath's in the bin. The players are just making sure that everyone understands the board state. I think Brandon may not be familiar with the interaction. So it has already been sacrificed. So the Windswept Heath's gone. The life has been paid.
And no land has been found.
No land. No
good.
effect even.
Interesting to get the plateau as well, considering that they are holding a Mystic Sanctuary in their hand.
But there were a few lands off it though, right? So it needs 3 other.
Time. Cycling, the thrice called.
Yeah, so you can go get a land of this.
From the bin, into play tapped. Or is it?
I believe it's untapped.
We'll find out.
Okay, so the players are just talking through this interaction here. Ben is becoming aware of the board state and deciding what he's going to do about this Windswept Heath hitting the battlefield again.
Into play tapped.
It is tapped. Okay,
Yes.
there we go.
I
So,
did have to read it.
all right, so we're back on Brandon's turn now. Mana has been re-established, I guess.
Yep. Sitting there with 3 cards in hand to the firm 7 of Mouse, one of which is a Metamorphosis Fanatic, and that looks like to be an Overlord of the Bale Merc.
It is indeed. So we're going for just 2 mana here. So this is the impending cost. So anyone familiar with Duskmourn and the House of Horrors that it is will be familiar with this impending mechanic, but eventually we will see it come off this impending and become a full-fledged creature of its own eventually. Interesting to see what gets returned here. We've seen an Oko flip, though, and it can return Planeswalkers.
That is extremely powerful. Never been to Duskmourn. I'm not a big fan of jump scares or House of Horrors in general.
You've not been?
No.
Oh, you've got to go.
At this time of year?
At this time of year, in this economy?
Looks like a...
Oh, it looks like a Douthie Voidwalker instead.
All right.
One of my favourite MH2 cards.
Well, it certainly is about exiling cards, which will hopefully turn on the Ketchmos sooner.
Yes,
I believe there's a plan behind that, instead of something like an Oko, which may be able to be dealt with a little bit more easily.
Ketchmos might be the way that Brandon can keep up with this library here. So it makes sense valuing it and setting it up for the future of this game state.
Yeah, both in terms of card drawing and potentially late game threat and pressure. He is familiar with the Supreme Verdict in Mouse's hand there.
Yep. So, you know, between the impending and the Ketchmos, a couple of things that will survive that anyway, so not so bad off. The interesting mechanic here with the Ketchmos is that when a card goes to exile and it is not that player's turn, it doesn't draw the card.
Yes.
So cards will get activated, like get sent to exile off the Voidwalker. The Ketchmos will get increasingly more online. I believe it needs 7 cards in exile.
Yep,
yeah.
7.
But the card draw engine won't be on until it's Brandon's turn again. So we'll see what Ben can do about this Voidwalker in the meantime.
Counting the cards quite a lot. Looks like we've got a Flage there, and
I mean, at some point, it's just rude.
Yeah.
It's just too many. Oh, I can't hold all these cards? Okay, mate.
What do I do with all this cardboard?
I've got too much value and nowhere to spend it.
Oh.
All right, Polluted Delta gets fetched. So we'll see if we get a island here for the Mystic Sanctuary to eventually turn on.
Exiled by the Dorothy Voidwalker potentially?
It should be.
Yeah.
Replacement effect missed by the players, but that's okay.
Might get cleared up soon.
Yeah,
Yep, there we go.
There we go. A classic one.
It gets everything.
It gets everything. It technically has a void counter.
Void counter, yep. I'm not sure if you'd cash in a Dorothy Voidwalker for a Polluted Delta.
You can only cast off it. You can't play off it. So
well, I definitely wouldn't cash it in then.
Yeah, I wouldn't cash it in. I think given that it's an illegal choice, it's probably best left to Ed Nurse.
Yes.
Voidwalker is a card I've been playing a lot of for a long time. So
it is. I love the design, but as someone that likes to play Reanimator, I hate the card.
I like it for the same reason, but the other way.
Right, so we've finally got the Temeo out and a Flame of Venor, which will allow us to do both modes, which I think you could already do with the Tishana's Tidebinder.
Yes,
shock
already
and draw. Not shock, 5 damage, I believe.
It is 5 damage, yeah.
And that is 3 cards in the turn.
3 cards in the turn, so we get the flip Temeo, turn it comes down.
Straight
Well
away.
played there by Ben.
Yep, so it's never a creature to actually be really interacted with too easily.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. They also got the replacement effect correct on the Flame of Venor, so
Incredible.
hats off to both of them.
Look, finally we are getting a game state that is both fluid and dynamic.
Fluid and dynamic.
I know.
Sometimes even solid.
Look, there are many states of Magic, and these are 2 of them.
I prefer gas.
Yes, well, drawing a lot of gas is Mouse. Brandon,
I've liked every single one of Brandon's cards, but yeah, nothing's keeping up with the library at the moment.
And there is, again, next to no pressure, a 1/1.
And if you guys want to do well as well, you too can go to your local library.
Support your local library. It is there. It is a free service. You can get access to a lot of information to,
On Alexandra and other things.
many other things.
Yeah. Magic books, maybe not.
Break the glass ceiling. Go to your local library.
Okay, so we've seen a very pimp deck by Brandon, by the way. So it looks like a Misty Rainforest has hit the battlefield.
Those sleeves, with the like a little bit of extra spice to it. I think it's like an inner sleeve that.
That does that, yeah, it does, yeah. And an abrupt decay on the Tameo before she even knew what hit her.
Yes, all the books went mouldy. There is so much mildew in the library, and she's left. She's left. She doesn't like it there anymore.
All of a sudden, it's to another plane with you. All right. So a daze here from Ben. Interesting in this position. I don't think it's going to have that much value, but clever players tend to find ways to manipulate a board state to a position where something like a daze can pick up value in the mid to late game.
Not so much for the single spell turn, but if there is a burst turn by Brandon, you get 2 in a row, you might see it tried. You just got to be real careful about that Dryad Arbor. That's sneaky.
Ooh, that Dryad Arbor. So we've seen an Arena of Glory as well from Ben.
Spell Pierce, and
it looks like it's a hard cast Fury and
fast cast.
Fast cast
with the Arena Glory.
Hard and fast and casting.
Well, don't worry about the Dryad Arbor anymore, and that's
9 damage straight to the face.
And all of a sudden, that Ketchmos may be a little bit more of a boon than bane if it is going to be drawing cards all the way down to 2.
Down to 2 life. Really holding on here. Thinking about the fetch, the extra life point
1.
Means that now Ketchmos will kill.
Yes, you have to be real careful. We
call that cool lethal.
Cool lethal.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to warm, or
yeah.
Okay, hot lethal.
Scalding
hot lethal.
Yeah, scalding hot lethal.
And then Mouse Stew, I believe, has a little bit of protection, at least 1 free spell in days.
It's interesting. We've seen Ben be very disciplined in his development of his board state across this game. Holding back land drops, turning on the library, pulling ahead as soon as he could.
That is
what's the
Catacombs,
draw?
Which he cannot cast.
It is a concession. It is what it is. So Ben hits the lead here, 1-0 against Brandon. I think very well played there by Ben. That was a real masterclass.
Like the discipline of the library, which maybe the library taught him.
The library maybe taught him the discipline. Maybe he was disciplined enough to find the library.
There is no way of possibly knowing.
There's no way of knowing.
But that certainly did turn the tide of the battle. At no point, really, even through 3 discard spells, was Ben ever going to run out of cardboard.
Yeah, all I can say is that I'm very impressed, and I want Ben's list to use myself.
Well, we need a library of Alexandria for that.
I've got friends in bookish places.
Yes. Or for a casual game, you could go down to your local library and print a proxy.
I'm not printing any proxies.
Okay.
All right. So we've got the sideboard here. So we've got some Hydro Blasts and some Blue Blasts coming in for Brandon.
Many blasts, many good. All 4 would be acceptable here. From the Jeskai side, what might we see?
So interestingly, we've got some options that don't normally exist in a Jeskai sideboard.
Including a Lomnath.
Omnath particularly, given not a Jeskai card in particular.
Historically not a Jeskai card.
No.
And yet...
Omnath, Locus of Creation, 1 pip of green gets you a long way in this format at the moment. So we're seeing that both with Oko and Omnath.
And speaking of extremely expensive, extremely old lands that nobody has enough of, there is also a Tabernacle of the Pendril Vale.
That's a fantastic one. I wonder if that's just, I have a 14-card sideboard and I want to flex on you.
Well, I mean, it feels like that's what he's done with the main board library of Alexandria. It's simply...
I think it's effective, though, wasn't it?
I know, it's extremely good. They are a long-time champion of that card and really making it worth its while there. But besides from that, we're not going to see the Blue Elemental Blast.
Possibly, because Pyroblast and Red Blast is pretty likely.
Yeah.
Submerge as well, I would think.
Yes. Veil of Summer to... counteract those discard spells.
There's an interesting decision on the board here for Mouse if you can smell it out. Oh, there's an extract coming in.
Extract. I don't know.
Amazing.
I don't think it is. I think it's one of the last ones that does not go in.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Ashok, the Dream Render, if he's worked out there is a bit of a reanimation package here, would be a nice
Pretty good,
addition.
yeah.
Also shuts down fetching. So there are multiple applications for it. That being said, it's a planeswalker that doesn't protect itself at all.
And a 3-mana one at that
And
on
it's
the
a
play.
3-mana one when you're on the draw. So
On the draw, sorry.
it's interesting. We'll have to see whether or not it's valued in this matchup. I don't know what I'd do myself. What do you think? If you had full deck list information, which we do, but they don't, what would you do? Would you be bringing in an Ashiok?
Probably not on the draw, maybe on the play.
Maybe on the play?
Maybe on the play. But
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So still working out. Looks like Brandon's working out his last sideboard card. Looks like the Blue Elemental Blast is going in and one going back there. Being on the play, this case, we might see, hopefully, we didn't see any of these in the first game, some of their kind of mana dorks. There are plenty of those available, and getting one of them on turn 1 and then kind of high jumping into turn 3 off one of them could be really a way to get ahead and actually put that pressure down, which he was lacking a little bit in that first game, to make Ben blink first.
Yeah, one of the really strong lines available with Brandon's deck is an early elf or birds into natural order, a card that has also recently seen voice change.
Oh, God.
Which
Yeah.
is, yeah.
For why?
Tell us what you really think.
I love Natural Order. I played a lot of Natural Order at 1. It was a great card to spend a point on to click the I win the button game. And now everyone else is doing it, and I don't feel cool anymore. And I resent that.
Okay, well, granted you don't feel cool anymore.
Yeah.
That's okay to me.
Really important.
We all knew the truth in the first place. What we really want to see is a natural order. Get on stream.
I do want to see a Natural Order. In this case, for Atraxa Grand Unifier, or is there a Crater Hoof?
I don't believe there is a Crater Hoof.
No Crater Hoof. That makes me very sad.
Brandon's done too good of a job building his deck.
Unfortunately, they have made more correct decisions than incorrect ones, and we will not see a Crater Hoof Behemoth in this matchup.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And I mean, Altanak as well is a reasonable backup option, given it can also ramp you, and what we saw it do in game 1 there. It didn't look like ramp, but it actually got him a land drop back.
Yeah, the land drop that he lost from being
from being bound by the tides.
Yeah, it's a 6/6 with a pseudo ward. Not really a ward, just whenever it gets targeted, you would draw a card. And a 6/6 is...
It does have a weakness in that it auto loses to Orcish Bowmaster. But apart from that, the card's pretty powerful.
That's bad. Luckily, there's no Orcish Bowmaster in math.
There's no Orcish Bowmaster in this matchup, and I'm sure that Brandon knows that well enough to play around it when it is becoming an option for his opponents.
I'm not prideful enough to admit that I did not know that interaction. That is very sweet.
I think any of those interactions where you naturally draw your whole library because of your opponent's card and it's an accident, hilarious. I find them very funny. So
my favorite combination of Orcish Bowmaster is responding to your opponent's Tomeo Ultimate.
Oh, God.
It's a great combination.
Well,
It's a collaborative combination.
I'll tell you what it brings about. It brings about my favorite rule in the game, which is Rule 104.3a, which is a player may concede at any time.
Anytime?
Anytime they want. You can just concede. It's one of the rules. And I would recommend, should you draw half your library and get Bowmastered, that might be one of those moments.
You utilise that one?
I think so. I think it might be the correct line even.
All right, we got some opening hands. Looks like an Oculus, a Blue Elemental Blast.
We've got Emperor Bones as well in there.
Mr. Bones. And 4 lands, one of which being a Beseiju.
Beseiju is interesting, a way of interacting with library.
This is library, which, of course, he has.
He's got it?
He's got it. Turn 1 library.
God.
And on the draw, where it's even better, because it can immediately draw a card.
Well, here's the thing, though. Are you turn 2 Beseijuing the library if you're branded here?
Maybe.
You're going down a card, but your opponent's not going up a card before you do it.
Not going up so many
If you're going to do it anyway, you should do it now.
I think so. I mean, the other option at present, draws aside, is a 2/2. With no effect.
Yes.
And while Grizzly Bears once was a playable limited card, it is
no longer? No longer?
No.
But what if my Grizzly Bear is an Emperor?
Well, the monarchy has ways of keeping itself in power.
That is true. That is true. Okay, so here we go. So we've got an Underground Mortuary and a Tundra here.
Put it into the front. I mean, it's another card in the bin for the Oculus, and I think you just got to You got,
We see a laugh here coming from Ben.
He knows it.
He felt pretty lucky for a second.
I mean, he has, still got the card off it.
Still get 2 for 1.
Still get to put a basic land.
It's an amazing trade for Ben.
Yeah.
Even if this is the unexpected answer here, it's so good for him.
Surveil land.
100%. It's any basic land type on the Besaju.
Incredible. So
Although
they fixed his mana as well.
Oh my god.
Incredible. Incredible.
Just stays winning, doesn't he?
Yeah. Look, I'm going to discard a card. You're going to draw a card, and I'm going to fix your mana.
Amazing.
And I'm going to pay 2 mana for the privilege of doing it.
Deal offered, accepted.
And it was still probably the best play available to them.
Oh, yeah. Correct play there from Brandon. It's just been put in a really rough position. You can't be excited to do it, and you can't be excited to have to play against Library on this first turn 2 games in a row. But
so all I'm hearing here is Library to 2 points.
Yeah, Library to 5, I think.
Yeah, nobody else can afford it.
It is Ben's privilege at the moment.
It's Ben's world, we're just living in it.
I do love seeing someone make an unusual choice and get rewarded, though, so fun to see.
It's been extremely good. Probe, let's see what we're working with.
Okay.
Drawn a Metamorphosis Fanatic, so...
in addition to that, drew the Metamorphosis Fanatic on the turn, you can't use it.
Yeah. And that might have actually been one of the few things, if you were able to do instead of Besajuing, that I would consider justifiable. The 4/4 lifelink to really...
That's true, but you need to have the land in play first. Yeah. So, unfortunate there. So, it's interesting here. This hand can get back in this game pretty quickly. Oculus can run away with things. It is quite good at that. Yeah. I think that this Blue Blast... It's not looking optimal here. It's a card that you would prefer a little later on.
Yes.
In these matchups. It's great at handling a Red Blast itself or a Pyroblast. But in the early game, they're not really leading with their red cards.
No, it comes much later, and it's often just to help win a counter war. Ben here with the Tropical Island to make sure they have the green mana for the Omnath, which I'm sure that they've brought in.
Yeah. Why not? You know, the world is a rainbow. We're just living in it.
And
that's a saying, isn't it?
Yes. From our ivory tower, gazing at these hands, we can see that Blue Blast ain't doing much work for a while.
Not right now.
Brainstorm hitting a fetch land perfect. Really get to sculpt the perfect 7. 8 in this case, I believe.
Yeah, quite a few.
So I see that Swords to Plowshares premium removal spell, which will extend the game, which, as we saw last time, really puts Ben in the driver's seat, although they are now missing the infinite card engine of the library, although that is a stock up, which is also near infinite card engine.
Well, yeah, how do you feel about stock up as a card?
I think it's real good.
Oh, you like it?
Yep.
Okay.
It's real good. All the dig through time kind of parallels aside, it's the best divination ever printed, and I once told one of the best control players in the country about it, and they flat out ignored me.
That is true. Hi, Anderson.
Yeah.
The interesting here, we're just seeing the play of the Marsh Flats without the fetch. I believe that Ben will fetch this, but just holding that information to himself for
going down to hand size.
Going down to 7 cards while I was doing
incredible.
it. Yeah. Why not? It's turn 2.
Just discard, why not?
Yeah.
Things are going well.
I'll tell you what, it's nice to be rich.
Perfect mana, at least, for Brandon. So when they are able to cast spells, they will be able to pick which they like. Emperor of Bones holding up a blue elemental blast should they fancy. But again, it's just a Grizzly Bears at the moment.
Okay.
That is...
It's a Teferi here. So this is the Bloomburrow print of Teferi.
Right. Why is it a bird?
Because it's Bloomburrow.
Oh, I see.
And bird is the word.
The bird is the word.
So we see the fetch for the Challenger and Spell Pierce to the Teferi. Might as well cast it on the Teferi because you're not going to be using it on anything else while that's in play anyway.
Yep. And that way I don't have to look at it anymore. So thank you for doing that.
I like that art. What are you talking about?
It's a bird.
The bird's the word, man.
Okay, apparently so. Here is that extremely expensive land that does not tap for any mana that everybody loves.
Tabernacle.
Tabernacle, which is a great little one to sandbag.
I can't imagine the young children, when Magic was first being released, being very disappointed that they opened a rare land.
A rare land that doesn't tap for mana?
It doesn't even tap for mana?
You can't even cast your Shivan Dragon with it.
That's crazy.
What's the point?
I don't know.
And
I don't know.
If you have a Shivan Dragon and they just play it, you just pay 1 mana and your Shivan Dragon can beat them up.
All right, so we do see the previously called out stock up.
Mana Drain, Lightning Bolt, couple of lands, and a Fury.
So Fury is one of the cards that the Blue Blast may change decisions about.
Yeah. Again, is it really something that Ben really needs to play at the moment? He's seen the hand, he's seen the Metamorphosis Fanatic, he's seen the Emperor of Bones. Yes, maybe the Fury at least trades with the Emperor and a bit of mana there. Is that enough? Well, he's already got a Swords to Plowshare that he's sitting on. He's already got the Tabernacle to constrain the mana. I don't really, think you need, although they apparently...
No, he's taking it.
He wants
I guess he does not value those extra lands. Lightning Bolt's not doing a lot here either.
No.
So given the choices, it was a bit of an interesting decision, and it seems that, Brandon's Blue Blast is going to have to be dealt with at some point anyway, so
Yes.
may as well have the Fury instead of having to find it later.
Yeah, you can force through, eat a card. If Brandon does tap out for something, you can just, play 3/3. Get through.
Bone!
Mr. Bones.
There we go. He's a rattly boy. So we'll see this start to eat a few cards.
Nothing really...
Nothing spicy. What you really want to be taking with it is creatures.
Yes, but keeping graveyards thin. I'm not sure if Ben has that many way. He might have a Murktide or something.
Maybe,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think that there are a lot of tangential benefits anyway.
Hitting the Brainstorm at least, so we won't see that come back with the Mystic Sanctuary. At least the Mystic Sanctuary would be away. Just down here. Again, not doing too much at the moment, but...
Hey, at least cycles. It's a good card if something were to happen.
in there.
We'll see how Ben is valuing his mana here versus what's on the board.
I'm just trying to work out what that bottom card is on Ben's.
I think it might be a Lorien Revealed.
Okay. So, can make that decision whether to sandbag it or cycle it next turn to keep the mana flowing. Still holding on to the Tabernacle to, no need to play it just yet. Really hoping, I suppose, for another creature on the board to start to tax that mana. Emperor of Bones not adapting just yet. Really kind of respecting in case a creature is able to hit the graveyard to get a bit more value out of it instead of trying to go for the throat a bit more.
Absolutely, yeah. Plus it costs 3 mana, I guess, so there are a range of cards that, we can think about casting this turn. I believe we have an Oko in hand here from Brandon.
That is a good one.
Yeah, that is a good draw, and we've got a little bit of protection here. So mana drain is going to be a bit of a problem here. All right, so we've got 3 mana coming for Ben's turn. So the opportunity to take advantage of that with the Arena of Glory and the Fury is going to be real, but he does, again, know about that Blue Blast.
Yes, and we have the Tundra up for that. No way to fight too hard against that either, so yeah, not too sure what...
Okay, so we're seeing the swords here to clear the way.
So it might just be to force the issue. You've got the mana, you might as well use it. I don't even know if you do the hasting of the Arena of Glory.
Oh, we're just going to Lorien Revealed here.
Yeah, it's good use 3 mana,
Not
actually.
bad, bad. Nice little draw 3 for 2 mana.
Mystic Sanctuary not turned on as of yet.
I always thought I was a big fan of drawing cards, but I think Ben might have me beat.
Oh, his lands draw cards. And then he has cards that draw cards that can also draw lands.
Yeah, I mean...
Lands and cards and lands.
It's a cycle.
Mystic Sanctuary kind of draws a card. And there's
somewhat. Not in this board. Interesting that the Mystic Sanctuary hit play instead of the Tabernacle.
Again, I think just sandbagging that for a turn. If say, Brandon go for the Oculus, which would, make another creature super good.
So I do like that here because we got Oculus to remove 6 cards. So we've got 6 cards in the bin.
There it is.
So anyway, Oculus here. He knows that Ben, with this mana up, could only have a red blast. He's got the blue blast to counter back.
And a land to follow. Here we'll see a Manifest Dread at the start of Ben's turn, unless he has anything to do with it. End step, no.
Alrighty, so the best of the 2, which is a Deathrite Shaman and an Inquisition into the graveyard.
And here we probably will see the Tabernacle to tax the mana a little bit more.
Okay, so we've got a healthy counterspell suite in Ben's hand. It's interesting here that now that there is a threat developed,
all those counterspells don't do anything.
They don't do as much.
No.
Ben's going to have to make some choices around what he's going to do with his mana here. He's only got 5 lands, so he can't Supreme Verdict and keep up a counterspell. So it looks like we're preordaining, and we're valuing having lands on future turns.
Flame of Anor, 5 damage.
And an Expressive Iteration. So there is an answer there, but If he was looking for a land, he hasn't found one.
No, and again, as he said, you know, respecting the blue blast, the Flame of Law will be met with that, and he doesn't then be able to finish it off with a counterspell. But you may see that happen in Brandon's turn. So the
It's kept
force
both.
negation. Yeah,
There we go. So Flame has been valued quite highly here.
Yep, might see that in Brandon's turn, so the force negation after Brandon's paid some mana is used.
Yeah, so win that counter war again. That cycle, force of negation, etc. Mostly force of negation.
Mostly
is the one we see, but they can only be cast for free on your opponent's turn.
Still a good cancel. Well, a bad cancel, but an okay cancel.
It's a really bad negate, but it's a really good negate sometimes.
At least the Tabernacle should tax for 2. The Deathrite Shaman is the manifested creature, so it is in Brandon's best interest to kind of keep that around. They do have lands in their graveyard to kind of balance that out. Another source of kind of graveyard interaction, and yeah.
Yeah, okay, so
Soon as it's your turn.
here's the Flame.
Sorry, what am I doing, Sis Mouse? I'm waiting for you. Hold on.
Wait, is it your turn? I thought it was your turn.
I thought it was your turn. Whose turn is it? Where are we? He is seeing through at least 3 universes. All right.
Okay, so here's the untap,
Okay.
possibly. I think Brandon's thinking about whether he wants to flip the Deathrite, and he does.
Yep. Okay. Right. And end of turn, flip the Deathrite. Now we are in the upkeep.
And then we've got the Tabernacle.
Tabernacle trigger. 1 for each, please. You have to pay the toll.
You must pay the toll.
And now we see the Flavor Noir after the mana is taxed. 5 damage to the Oculus. Might see the Blue Elemental Blast come in against it. And snap it off. Mental misstep.
Mental misstep.
Yeah, even better.
Not
That was
even
OP.
paying
Yeah.
life.
The best mental misstep.
Now, we are getting quite close to Metamorphosis Fanatic Hardcast.
Yes, which would get back the Oculus with lifelink.
Yeah,
That could be a problem.
that could certainly be an issue. We've got the mana now. Deathrite Shaman to slowly drain some life total here, as well as provide an additional mana source should that be needed.
Yeah, mouse up to 5 plus the Tabernacle, so the Expedition, the Expressive Iteration live here. That all said, 13 minutes and 15 seconds on the clock in the middle of this game too without a clear winner.
These are some grindy decks right here. I think these players have been playing pretty quickly as well.
Oh yeah, no fault there. I just looked up and noticed the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm having too much fun.
There's a lot of fun to be had when we're watching these grind fests.
Yeah, you know, normally I don't like them. I don't mind watching them, I guess. I just don't like playing them.
That's true. No, I'm a control mage myself.
I'm too impatient.
I do enjoy the grinds. So Windswept Heath is taken off the Expressive Iteration using the Exile thing, part of the rules text?
Yes.
Yeah.
That part.
That part.
One
So-
in hand, 1 in exile played, 1 on the bottom of the deck. Looking at this Leyline Binding. Still got the counterspell hold up.
Yeah,
here.
so took the Leyline Binding off the Expressive Iteration, so a hard answer to something.
Well, he knows about the Metamorphosis Fanatic, which he can see.
does.
So I think it would be sandbagged for that reason, because that would certainly put Brandon firmly in the driver's seat if all of a sudden they put 9+ power into play.
Absolutely.
All with lifelink.
Yeah, so I think the counterspell's waiting on that. And then interesting to see what they do with the Deathrite. I imagine we're seeing a drain for 2 of a card.
Well, only
Doesn't particularly matter, I don't believe. But
7 more turns. It doesn't matter now that the Mystic Sanctuary. Oh yeah, got to pay the toll.
Pay the toll. Just 1 mana now, though.
Just 1 mana.
So there's enough mana here. So between the Deathrite and the 5 mana, there's enough for the Metamorphosis Fanatic. But we'll see if Brandon values that.
How much mana would you pay for a Deathrite Shaman?
Oh, I simply wouldn't.
Just simply wouldn't.
I simply wouldn't.
You just let it go.
I just let it go, you know? Sometimes elves just need to be like the wind.
Put back into the ground that they so worship.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah. So, he's drawn something to make it a bit of a thinker. As he said, the option to play the Metamorphosis Fanatic, but that is one of those high risk, high reward. You really have to expect with, bent stacked hand that there's got to be an answer that he's holding back on, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thinking it has nothing is just wishful.
That's just a path of the turn. Looks like it is. And here comes the ley line for 2. Eat the Death Right, turn off the pressure. Brandon's going to respond. Eat something.
Eat something in response. I think that's a fair call.
You gotta. Put him down to 9. We're in the single digits now. 4-color soup, not known for its ability to burn an opponent out of nowhere, but...
well, you know, with the nature of these Jeskai Control decks, having fewer turns to close a game out is actually pretty relevant. Yeah. So Flame of Venor getting exiled there. Leyline Binding, doing what it does best.
That Tendril now, just the Tabernacle, sorry, is now just an expensive piece of cardboard doing nothing, really.
Nothing, no lands, no anything.
Mana, no effect, really just a poor card.
So Surveil of Stern Scolding into the bin. And then what do we have here? So we have a Brain Surge, fantastic.
Oh, old boarded.
Old boarded Brain Surge.
That Fury might... okay, he's just patience.
Just patience.
Look, he's in control. He's a game up. There's no need to rush your opponent. You have one known card. You really got to watch out for that Metamorphosis Fanatic and make sure that does not resolve. So
it really is the only thing. And because Ben's a game up as well, the clock pressure for the match is not as important to him as it is to Brandon. Brandon's been playing very deliberately, very solidly. We'll see if he goes for it.
Cannot fault for either player's due diligence in this matchup.
They're diligent, yes. Amongst other terms, diligence is one.
As diligent as I am belligerent.
Ah, well, they're not that diligent.
Oh, nobody is.
Nobody is.
Okay. Here's that Brain Surge. Draw 4. Teferi. Ah, good art Teferi.
The good art Teferi?
Yeah, the original art.
Oh, that's not the good art.
No, the good art is the beta one.
The beta art, yeah, it's absolutely.
2 back. 4 cards, none of which are lands. That is pure gasoline.
Yeah, I think if you're in Ben's seat here, you know that you can start closing down this game right now, but you really have no reason to still. So here we just see the Teferi.
Gently. You know, that's...
Is that a Worldly Tutor?
It might be a Worldly Tutor in response, yes.
Okay, so
you gotta
Worldly
cast
Tutoring
it now. What can they find? Obviously, Metamorphosis Fanatic already
in hand. That is the one that it's in there for, mostly.
Grist, yeah.
Grist is not a bad one. It's even though it is a creature in other zones, it is not one on the battlefield.
Orcish Bowmasters, again, not so good onto the Tabernacle,
yeah, I don't think Ben's playing a not nat to get the backdoor win condition there. So
we have a bit of a thinker. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Grist. It's a little anemic here, but at least it can do some things.
Yeah, if Brandon was able to access this card immediately, I think the Bowmaster might be the pick. But because it'll sit on the top of his library till next turn.
Yes, eating up the draw step.
I think that the Bowmaster is no longer the choice.
Frog or Grist, our front runners.
Shieldred, not a bad one. Not a good one either, though. Really in some trouble here, Brandon. He's going to try and see if he can think his way out of this pseudo-lock that Ben's got him under.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an issue because you really want to double spell to try to overload with something plus the Metamorphosis Fanatic. But that would require 7 to 8 mana and the threat to be good enough to warrant baiting out the counterspell. So Grist, at least, if it does get under, it can provide some small incremental advantage over a couple of turns.
Good mechanics there, making sure that the deck's still cut. Grist to hand. So we've got Swamp, Metamorphosis Fanatic, and Grist.
Versus a stacked 7.
A stacked hand. Okay.
So the bait is the Metamorphosis Fanatic.
So we're going to force some action.
You would expect to see...
It's a resolve.
Well, yeah, that's
okay, so we're looking at the Supreme Verdict here then, for sure.
Nice and easy.
Yep. Do you want the Gristlebrand or the Mental Misstep?
I'll take the first one. Is that Fury? It's a Flame? Or the Fury that might have been put back with the Brain Surge.
Yeah, I got put back with the Brain Surge there. So became the draw step once again. Okay, so I'm expecting this turn to see a Supreme Verdict.
Counterspell.
Holding up Counterspell for that last card in hand.
Tick up to Fairy.
Yep, no need to draw cards off it quite yet.
No.
Can wait for 1 or 2 more turns. Here it goes to 6.
That means that Supreme Verdict's now instant speed.
Ooh.
Mid-combat.
So fast. So it looks
lore
like we're
is slow.
thinking about the other cards here. So
Yeah, just discard.
just going to discard. Okay, that's fine. Must be nice. So he's going to make the Tabernacle dues be paid.
Yeah, pay the 3.
The 3 mana, yeah, for the 3 creatures.
Yep.
Go to draw.
Oh.
Not quite. Hold up, he says. Hold up, mate.
Hold on. Even though you can't counter it,
I heard there was delivery, and
happening
it is
now.
a supreme verdict.
it's a Barrow.
Oh, it's a Paragoyf. It looked a lot like a Gristlebrand to me for some reason. My bad, guys.
It's a black card with some dark colours on it.
They do go around. So, fresh card off the top. It looks like it might be... I can't quite see it.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got text, though. So,
2 textured cards, although 4 mana thanks to Tabernacle eating 3 of that. So it's a choice. It looks like the Grist is going to come on out.
the known information first makes a lot of sense here.
Spell. Eat that.
Must have assumed that he had it. It didn't seem like that was something Brandon was particularly worried about happening at that point.
Ben now firmly in control.
Is the name of the game. And the game might be going towards Ben's favour.
Slowly. Tameo.
Tameo.
Can't get in the library.
That's
Can go to
true.
the Tabernacle.
So, plus on the Teferi as well.
Yeah. Sitting back. No need to worry too much about it. What can Brandon draw? What can we do to get ourselves back in this game?
Okay.
Now, just remember that Tabernacle is symmetrical.
So it's an abrupt decay on the Tameo. Okay, so the Teferi's going to stay in play. That must have been the draw last turn, I think.
Yes. Looking at the shading.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
On
Some very pimp cards in these decks.
Look, for all of What's His Crimes, the 200 artworks per card is among them.
What crimes?
They've never hurt anyone. They've never done anything
They've
wrong.
never done anything wrong. They gave me SpongeBob art. I'm happy.
Oh, God. And
Okay, so we have a Hull Breacher and a clue from the Tameo.
Moon and Myrrh walking in tangents to...
We've got a, but the folks are out.
Folk Festival. We got a Tabernacle. We got Folk. We've sent people to the farm.
I mean, this is an indie darling, really, isn't it?
This is country living.
It is country living. He is in God's country and from God's country.
Brandon now looking at Veil Summer and a Hydroblast, 2 reactive cards to a board state that is swiftly
it's
coming
getting out of hand. As we saw last round as well, this Jeskai Control deck, once it finds a corner to turn around, it skids and revs.
Yeah, bit of initial D drift around the corner, foot
yeah.
to the floor.
It's deja vu.
Theme song plays.
Yeah. All right.
90s kids everywhere laugh at my bad jokes.
Unfortunately, I'm one of them.
Oh, Brainstorm with a Hull Breacher in play.
Woo!
Um,
Brandon has found officially the coolest line.
Yeah.
This is a lot of treasures. Gotta love it. That sweet Strixhaven art won't save you.
No, that's not how that works. You're going to have to put the 2 cards on top of your library.
Yeah. So the replacement effect is, for those at home, the replacement effect of Hull Breacher is instead of drawing cards, there is a treasure made. So we still resolve the Brainstorm, which is draw 3, put 2 back. So you just put 2 back.
And with that,
we have it locked up. Yeah, Ben's
2
our
minutes
winner.
to spare. 2 minutes.
2 whole minutes and in a 2-0.
2 whole minutes and a 2-0.
Yeah, there we go. That's a control mirror for you, though. A lot of complicated lines of text, a lot of complicated lines to take as well.
I think both players played brilliantly.
It's fantastic
really
stuff
well.
there.
And, Ben really, again, showing us the power of extremely niche, extremely old, extremely overpriced lands.
It looks like the Extract did come in there, by the way.
Ah, there you go.
He's got a very nice version of it there.
Cryptic Command.
Cryptic Command.
Eat my heart out.
Look, Ben's my new favorite.
Yeah, it's hard to be bad at a guy running Extract, Cryptic Command.
So Brandon drops to 3-1, but that's still a pretty powerful position to be in. We've got 8 rounds today.
Right,
halfway through, if you can, repeat that in the second half, you're in with a shot of making the cut.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Depending on when you cop those losses.
Yeah.
So pretty good, 75% win percentage, nothing to sneeze at either. Welcome back. I'm Sam
hello.
Loy once again, and this is Russell Cutting still.
It's me somehow.
There's no way of knowing how and or why. All right, so we're going to go quickly to a break now. When you come back, we're going to get into some round 5 action with your new casters. So we're going to have Dylan Kakawa and Isaac Lee on the seats for you and breaking down the Great Highlander action. Once again, thank you to Pat Hawkins and MTG Bazaar for having us this weekend, and we'll see you more. We'll see you more?
See you more?
We'll see you more.
I'm sure
We'll
you're
see
sick
you
of
more.
us, but even if you're not sick of us, until next time.
See you soon.